Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's been so long. I'm sorry that it took me so long to film this video. I'm so glad I was finally able to get this video done to do a life update for you guys and just let you know where I've been and what's been going on. So I'll just go ahead and get into it. I'm at the park right now, so if I keep looking around, that's kind of why. But anyways, so yeah, I'm currently in Florida. For you guys that don't know, I'm no longer in Los Angeles. My lease was up in July, and I was kind of going back and forth about whether I was going to stay another year or not. Once my lease was over, I just decided not to renew and came to Florida. Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. Like, I have my moments where I miss LA. Like, I feel like it's one of those moves where I went out there, I did what I wanted, and then I left. LA just wasn't a place where I really saw myself long term after living there. I'm kind of trying to figure out like where I want to be next. I'm not really sure. I have looked at some places like in Florida, so 9 out of 10, I feel like I would settle here in Florida and then just travel, you know, but this be like my main home or whatever. I don't see myself ever moving back to LA. Like I said, it was a great experience, but I feel like I guess because like I'm in my 30s now, so like I'm thinking about things like as far as like having a family and children and things like that, and that's not really somewhere where I saw myself like settling down. Also, when I think about like for business purposes, you look at like the expenses and what you would be putting out, and that investment could be really expensive too. So it's just like one of those things where I'm glad I got a chance to experience it and learn from it, but at the same time, I just knew like this isn't the place I want to be for the rest of my life. Let's say when I'm super rich, I would possibly consider getting a little place in LA where I could rent it out or something like that, possibly. But other than that, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything or anything like that. Like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but it was just, you ever do something and you just know like you've reached the end of that thing? That's kind of like what it was for LA. So it's hot as hell outside. Y'all, I have my little notes here because yeah. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'll be all over the place in this video, and I'll totally like forget what the heck I'm talking about, and yeah, my video won't make absolutely any sense. So I have a couple of notes here just on things that based off of some of the questions that I've gotten about living in LA, and yeah, let's just get into it. So basically, I've had a couple of people ask me like what it was like living in LA. LA was cool. Like, I feel like Los Angeles is one of the most, not even Los Angeles, California period, I feel like is one of the most beautiful states in the whole world. Like, I'm in the United States. Like, it's literally the prettiest place. Like, some places just look like paradise. Especially like one of my favorite places is Paradise Cove in Malibu. I love it. Like, it's so beautiful over there. And it's so pretty. Like, the scenery, the mountains, the weather, I love it. And one thing I really liked is like me being from Florida, like this humidity and this heat. Listen, one thing I can say about LA that I really enjoy is like at night, I liked how it got cool. So if I wanted to wear like sweatpants and hoodies, which is like kind of like my go-to, if I wanted to wear that at night during summertime, I could. Like, you could still put a cute fit together, especially at night, because it'll probably be like 50 degrees. But yeah, that's one of the things I really, really loved about LA. The neighborhood that I stayed in, I absolutely loved it over there. I stayed in the Valley. I'm like, should I say where I stayed? I guess I could go ahead and say where I stayed now that I don't live there anymore, but I lived in Woodland Hills. So Woodland Hills is my jam. Like, I loved it over there. It was very like, it's more chill than like some of the other areas in Los Angeles. Like, if you were to raise kids there or have a family, I feel like the Valley's a little bit more appropriate for like a family because it's more chill. It's not as much chaos going on. All of your local stores are like accessible. So yeah, it was cool over there. The only thing is, like, if you're into like going out, and which that's not me, but if you're into that kind of stuff, or if you're trying to work in like the industry or whatever, then that may be an issue, because it is kind of far out. Whenever I would go to events or go somewhere, it would take us about like 45 minutes to an hour to get in the city. So it was cool, because it wasn't like I was doing that every day. It was like, you know, here and there. So I didn't have a problem with it. But yeah, I will say LA is very expensive. Some of the places where I lived, the gas was almost like $6 a gallon. There were places in LA where gas was close to $8 or $9 a gallon. So it just depends on the area you live in. I do feel like the Valley is a little bit cheaper. No. Okay, so compared to downtown, the Valley, when I originally looked, was more expensive than downtown. But some of the other areas that I've looked at, like West Hollywood, what is some other, not Silver Lake, Culver City, some of the other places that I've looked at, they are more expensive compared to the Valley. So, it just kind of depends on what you're out there for. Like, I will say, if you're working in Los Angeles, definitely try to find a neighborhood that's like close to where you're working, because if you have to drive to work every day, then I can see where that 45-minute to an hour drive would become a problem. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I thank God for the experience, guys. Like, I never thought I would be able to afford to live in Los Angeles and like be able to live in my dream apartment, live in the neighborhood I wanted to. Like, I thank God. And I'm not saying that living in LA wasn't like challenging. It is very challenging. And I feel like when you're from a smaller town and you move to a big city like that, like LA or New York, like, it really is like, you go through like that culture shock. And then it's just different. Like, God knew what he was doing by putting me in Woodland Hills. 'Cause I feel like if I lived like downtown or something, I would have been kind of overwhelmed. But yeah, it worked out perfectly with my location and everything. Let's see. The food is disgusting. I will say that, like, I did cook more in LA. Well, one, because it was just expensive. Like, even the times that I would like Uber eat maybe once or twice a week, I was spending like dang near $150 for just me. So yeah, it's pretty expensive. But I will say the food is disgusting. There's not one restaurant, like, even in Inglewood, I was like, okay, in Inglewood, I know the food has to hit. Like, no, I just don't like the food in LA. Like, I couldn't wait to get back home on those visits to eat. The transportation, so I did not drive in LA. Like I said, the gas is ridiculous. I've even heard people say their car insurance there is like, there's this one guy, he was like, he was paying like $600 a month for one car, for car insurance. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Like, I thank God I sold my car prior to moving to LA, and then just got another car when I left. But I used to just Uber. I thank God that I just went that route, just because too, I didn't realize I had a fear of heights until I moved to LA. So I think, is it the Pacific Coast Highway? Yes, the PCH. So going to Malibu, there's like the different like cliffs that you go around to get to Malibu. It's so scary. Like, I would be driving 10 miles an hour, because if you swerve, or if like a car accident happens and one of the cars goes off the cliffs, like, it's a wrap, unless God performs a miracle. Like, it's over. So I will say that, like, I didn't like that. Also, nobody talks about the high altitude and how that affects your body. Like, for me personally, I found that my body definitely retained more water than normal. It was like I was always puffy. And I also noticed, like, I kind of got used to this though. I would be on the highway in like certain areas, like my ears would stop up so badly. So that's one of the things. I also noticed too, like when working out in LA, I wasn't able to lift as heavy in LA as I am in Florida. It's weird. It was just because of the altitude. Like, it really does make a difference. Even just weights, period. I just noticed a difference that I could go like maybe 10 pounds heavier here in Florida than I could in LA. Like, it's freaking December technically, and it's, what is it? Well, it's saying it's 74 degrees, but hot out here. I wanted to tell you guys about like building relationships there. So it was, I can say, like, living in LA, it was hard to build like genuine relationships. I feel like it's a lot of people that are like trying to see who you're connected to or see how they can use you for something. Like, there's a lot of that going on, but I will say I did meet some amazing people. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I feel like it's one of those things where you kind of just have to use your discernment and, you know, let God lead you towards the right people. Make sure you're not getting mixed in with the wrong crowds. I also feel like my whole experience in Los Angeles, you guys, like, I initially went there to work on my clothing line. But y'all, God had another plan. Like, God really set me down when I moved to LA. And I thank God I was able to experience some amazing things. But I also feel like God took me there to strengthen my faith and to get me to a place where I'm fully relying on him, especially for this next chapter and where he's trying to take me. I like to plan things out, and I kind of like to know the outcome of things. And when you trust in God, like, it's kind of like just one step at a time. Like, you just fully trust in him and by faith. And so I feel like that was one of the main reasons that God took me out there. So it's so hot out here that my camera is overheating. But I don't know, maybe I could put this paper. Let's see. I don't know if that's I don't think that paper is gonna block the sun, so I may lose y'all in a little bit because my camera's overheating. So if it cuts off, yeah, that's what happened. But anyways, it's just one of those things. And I just want to say, like, when you're going through a major transition in life, or a major change, like, be flexible. Because for me, I had everything made up in my mind of how I wanted things to play out and how I wanted things to go. And while some of the things went the way that I wanted it to, it didn't go 100% like I planned on it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I was talking with my best friend, because for you guys that don't know, me and my best friend were the ones that moved out there. And we were just talking about how, like, when we originally wanted to move to LA, like in our early 20s, when we finished college, like, it would have been a disaster. At the time, like, I was seriously pursuing modeling. I also was getting into doing makeup. So a lot of that would have required me to eventually be around the industry, be in the industry. And I'm not saying that God's still not going to put me in certain places for certain things. But what I'm saying is, at that age, there's a lot of things about the industry that I wouldn't have understood that I understand now. Looking back on it, like, if you guys, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all know what's been going on with the whole P. Diddy thing, and like, just like all this stuff going on with all these celebrities and these SA claims and all of this. Who knows, like, where we would have been invited to or what event we would have gone to. And it's just one of those things where you have to be grateful and it happened. Like, this is something that's always been on my heart, to move to LA. It's something that I've always wanted to do. You know, there were times where it was really tough, like in LA. I don't think I talked about this, but when I was in LA, I was on a contract. I was released from my contract. So this is kind of when I fell into content creating. So I had filmed my first YouTube video, and I felt like God was leading me to get into content creating. And y'all, I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I'm just trying to remember everything that I was planning to say to you guys. But anyways, I felt like God was leading me into getting into content creating, and I was just like, I was kind of scared to do it, because content creating, especially when you're getting started, it takes so much time. You know, I was in a stage where I was learning the software, the editing software. I was spending hours on that after getting off of work, and I was working 6 days a week. So I worked 60 hours a week. So I was working 6 days a week, 10 hours. And it was just a lot, like trying to handle my responsibilities, you know, get groceries done, get the house clean, do laundry, like trying to manage that as well as create on Sundays. Like by the time Monday hit, like I was exhausted. And so I was just like, I can't do this. And I remember I like prayed about it, and I was like, God, like if it's meant for me to do content creating, I was like, I'm not going to quit my job. Like, you're going to have to like fire me or something, because I was like, I'm not gonna, like, I have the income coming in to take care of my bills and take care of my responsibilities, and I don't feel comfortable just like quitting. So please tell me why. Like literally that next week I got called into a meeting, and like all of the people on my contract were let go just because it was starting to get a little slow. And I was like, wow. So, you know, I was down about it, because at the same time, like, I'm in a new state. Like, I don't really have family out here like that. And it's just one of those things that was unexpected. But again, I feel like this was a situation where God was trying to build my faith and have me fully rely on him and get to that place. So, I went through that season, and it was tough. Like, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of times where I like doubted, and, but looking back on it, like I didn't miss a beat. Like all my needs were met. And I just want to say, guys, that is so important. Like, just make sure you put God first. Make sure that you honor God and do what he's telling you to do. Because for me, it was just one of those things where it was scary. Like, don't try to like, and this is one thing that I'm working on too. Like, if God tells me to do something, I try to make it make sense in my mind. And 90% of the time, it's not going to make sense to you at all. Just like, I'm not going to get into it too much, because I don't like talking about like possessions and stuff like that. Like, but just like me getting this car, the way I did, like, it was insane. And, I will say, like, God will provide your needs. You just have to trust him and be obedient. You can't be out here. I'm not saying like you don't play a part too. I do feel like you need to at least be trying to live right. You need to be trying to honor God in your life. Things that means you're doing everything wrong. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying sometimes it's us. Sometimes we're doing things that are attracting those things. But yeah, I've just been saying to you a lot that God's favor and just being nice to people, being genuine, like that will take you so much further in life than a degree. And are you kidding me? My camera's overheating again. This is crazy. I get frustrated and mad at God sometimes because of the way things are playing out or the way things are going, but you never know what God may be like protecting you from. And in LA was a beautiful experience. I could possibly see myself moving. I've always said I wanted to live in Paris next. But we'll see. I'm kind of at a place where I want to, you know, get settled in my new place first, and then go from there. And maybe, you know, I wouldn't mind traveling to another country or something, even if I'm just there for like a couple of weeks, just to explore and experience somewhere else. So I can't wait to see what God has in store, and I want to take you guys on this journey with me. I don't know what God's full plan is with this content creating thing. Yeah, I'm not even going to lie. It took me so long to film this video. Besides, well, one of the reasons it took me a long time is because I'm in Florida and we had 2 hurricanes, so back to back. So I had to evacuate, and I know I had originally posted in like the end of September that I was working on getting an update video for you guys, and I had to evacuate twice, so that kind of threw things off. And then after that, I was working on a contract for 3 weeks, so I was away for 3 weeks, so I couldn't film at that time either. So it was just like, oh my God. So I felt bad. You know, I hate saying I'm going to do something and not do it. So I do apologize about the delay, guys. Like, life happens. But I'm going to try my best to get more consistent with this. I'm still learning, and I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes like I didn't even want to upload this video. I was so nervous to even record this. I was like, I just had to kind of get out of my head, and I'm like, just turn on the camera, just do it, whatever. But yeah, so I'm still trying to figure this out. I do want to create or get into creating more short form content. I think that may allow me to be a little bit more consistent. And also, not only that, like for some reason, I'm very intimidated by short form content. So I feel like I want to challenge myself, especially for 2025. Like before 2025, I just really want to try to create some more short form. So we'll see what happens. Y'all pray for me. But yeah, if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer regarding LA, like definitely let me know. There was so much on my mind like that I wanted to say in this video, and I don't even know if I got everything out, especially with all these distractions with my camera. But I hope, like I said, if I forgot something or something that you needed help with or needed to know, then just let me know in the comments and I'll respond. Oh my God. Okay, guys. So my camera's overheating again. I have to finish this. So I just want to let you know, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any recommendations for future content, let me know. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.